my own pub in the gaff. Press record there as I'm taking a massive big swig out of this.
It's already recording.
He is recording. Fuck yous. Talking smack.
Let's do this.
Absolutely cutting that out. Okay, so this is going to be our show.
1 millionth podcast.
Yeah. This is actually our 11th podcast.
Yeah, we are a pretty big deal.
So this is a little bit different. This is going to be our picks, and these picks are for the upcoming UFC 264.
You writing this down?
I'm going to write down our picks so we have them recorded.
Big card.
History. Big card.
Big card. The McGregor show's in town.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be a big draw.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's going to be sold out and across the board, breaking all sorts of gates.
But some even though some people might know all the names on it, there's potentially some absolute crackers in this card.
There are also potentially a couple of snooze fests that are sneaking in under the radar, I think. But anyway, we'll get to them. We won't go through the entire card.
We're starting off with the main card.
We'll kick off with the last fight on the prelims, which I think bears a little bit of attention.
The natural-born killer.
Yeah.
I have to say, love Carlos Condit.
Yeah.
Always brings the fire.
Yeah.
32 wins in his mixed martial arts career, 15 knockouts, 13 submissions.
Yeah.
He's there to finish. Only gone to decision 4 times. He's only been stopped once by strikes. He has been submitted 6 times, but I think anyone watching this kind of
was that when stopped by strikes? Was that Woodley?
Yeah.
So,
and the reality is that's a TKO. It's a knee injury. It's not.
He's never been knocked out.
And I think anyone that knows if you're at this game long enough, if you're that aggressive, and you're going after the top guys on the ground on your feet, you're going to lose some, and you're going to be submitted every now and again. That's just part and parcel of it, and it's part and parcel of what makes him Carlos Condit, that aggressive style.
Condit has taken he must have been off for 2 or 3 years.
Well, his last fight was obviously. We seen him in January 2021. We seen him in October 2020. But then, he fought twice in 2018, only once in 2017, twice in 2016.
And he was coming off. He was coming off a 6-fight skid, wasn't he? At one stage.
Yeah, he did. Well, and what I will say is, and this is something that I think was overlooked. He is coming off. He was 5-fight skid, but the beginning of that was. Let me see. Am I right in saying it? It was a Robbie Lawler fight, 194, and it was for my money one of the worst decisions we've ever seen. It was the greatest strike differential that went against the winner of the strike. Like I think. Condit had outstruck him. It was something. It was mental. It was over 3-1, and he lost the split decision.
Okay,
I love Robbie Lawler, but Robbie Lawler 100% lost that fight. Yeah. And the reality is, this is why we complain about judges so much. The winning or losing that fight would have completely changed the trajectory of Condit's career, because he lost that by split decision. The reality is, he should have won it handily by unanimous decision. That was for a UFC title. His next fight would have been a title defense against a number 1 contender. Instead, probably with a bit of a point to prove, he fights Damian Maia, overcommits on the ground and gets submitted.
Yeah.
Because listen, the reality is, it fucks with your psyche, lose a bad decision like that. And
did Lawler the fight? What's his name? The Canadian lad after that.
Lawler then fought Tyrone Woodley and lost.
Alright, so the Canadian last fights were before that, then, weren't they?
Yeah. Shout out to the Porterhouse. I know they're big fans of the podcast. They make some cracking stout, lads. It's a beaut.
Imagine the smell in that room.
Yeah, smell of sweat and stout. And regret.
Sweat and stout.
Regret.
Smell of regret and loneliness.
He is coming. He did get himself back on track. He is getting coming in off 2 decision wins.
Yeah.
Now that is actually reasonably unusual for Conde because his last decision win before that was back in 2012. Other than that, it's stopped his one way or the other. So he's 2 decision wins. Court McGee. He's only had 4 decision wins in his career, and 2 of them were in his last 2 fights.
Yeah.
Court McGee decision wins. Matt Brown. Is he changed his style a little bit? Is he being a little bit more cerebral? I think a little more cautious. Yeah. How long that'll last, I don't know. He is 37 or 38. 37.
37, I think, easily, isn't he?
And he's nearly 38. He's going to be 38 in... no, we just gone 37.
I mean, let's look at it this way. If you look at it kind of in a cold, calculating way, he fought Court McGee, I think it was last year, wasn't it? 2020?
Yeah, 2021.
Okay. So he fought Court McGee coming off a 6-fight losing skid, right? That was 2020. He fought Matt Brown to a unanimous decision. He's 37. I don't know if he's ever going to be the sort of fighter to make another run at the title, but right now is when he needs to prove that he's even in the running for it. I don't even know if he's still ranked, is he? Might be in the top 15.
I will tell you now.
Something up there.
I don't think it's not on the Wikipedia page that I usually use. It's not there. Okay. He's not listed as being ranked, and usually they have him ranked.
So the problem is he's 37 now, right? And I think he has averaged over the past couple of years maybe 1 to 2 fights a year with a break from 2018 to 2020. Yeah. So if he's going to make any sort of a run at the top 10, I don't know what his chances are of ever getting a title shot. Maybe he just wants to go out on a bit of a winning streak. He needs to absolutely put some stamps on a couple of fights.
Yeah, I think if he has any chance at all, he has to. It's going to be within the next 12 months. That's the reality.
Yes, exactly.
And he has a strap over his shoulder, and he was going. That's the amount of fights he had in the last few years. He'd be screaming for the fucking.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you talk about his style, like you were saying, he always brings it. He's not a boring.
Great to watch.
Decision fighter.
Great to watch.
He's not a points fighter.
No.
He's unbelievably accurate. He has a very neat striking style, doesn't he?
Yeah. Like if he was a better defensive wrestler, I'd say we're talking about someone who definitely would have held the title, and someone who would have been, when he wasn't a title holder, would have just been in and around the top 2 and 3 all the time. His Achilles heel was the reality. He maybe was too comfortable on his back, and his takedown defense let him down at key points in his career.
Yeah.
And that's just the cold hard truth of it.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. So, I mean, he's going up against Max Griffin. Max Griffin is another fighter who you what?
That boy has potential.
Yeah, absolutely. He brings it.
You're looking at Griffin, a former Tai Chi Palace welterweight champion.
Yeah.
He's 17 wins, 9 knockouts, 2 submissions.
Yeah.
He's only been knocked out once. He's lost 8 times, the other 7 by decision.
Yeah.
He's coming in also on a 2-fight win streak. The difference being his 2 wins are TKOs and KOs.
Yes, exactly.
He's won 3 of his last 5. Now he has struggled. He in the UFC he hasn't been able to string more than 2 wins together.
Yeah.
His last fight was March 2021 when he stopped Sung Keenan.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna go Griffin on this by TKO.
I think the statistically it makes sense. I think you're right. I
Uh,
would love to see Conda make one last run. He's aggressive. I love watching him fight. I love watching him fight.
I think he deserves it. Like, he's been there for. He deserves a run. Like,
yeah, but it's, as we said before, there's one sport that doesn't give a fuck about deserve. It's this. That's the reality of it.
If it came down to deserve, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not.
But it's not. Yeah, we've all seen fighters who deserve something have it snatched away like that.
Yeah. I 100% go. I'm going to go with John. I think he's called it right. I think it's gonna be inside of 2. It might be bloody while it lasts. It might be excitement while it lasts.
You're saying Griffin?
I think ultimately Griffin gets it done.
Okay, I'm going to go with Conda because
John,
we fight it tonight.
It could be fight tonight.
Could well be, yeah. It could be a barn burner while it lasts.
Yeah. I think while Griffin on paper is definitely a, what would you call it, a more aggressive finisher, I think Conda is going to again. I really think he has something to prove. I think he's going to be evasive, difficult to pin down, difficult to get to drag into a kind of a head-to-head slugfest, and I think he's going to pick Griffin apart and get a TKO.
I think you could be right, but I think it all comes down to how much Conor has left in the tank.
True.
And the reality is, at 37, listen, the reality, it just doesn't get easier. I'm not saying it can't be done. It just doesn't get any easier.
Yeah.
That's just the cold hard truth of it.
I mean, let's face it, Griffin isn't a spring chicken either.
35. Yeah. He isn't a spring chicken at all.
I think that dynamic might be kind of balanced out across the boards.
I think, though, Conda has been in some wars as well.
Yeah.
He's been in some wars. And as accurate as he's been, we've seen him bloodied and opened up and take serious punishment. And the reality is there's only so much of that you can take as well. Yeah. And he was doing it at the highest level. He was fighting your Robbie Lawlers, your Johnny Hendricks, your GSPs, Nick Diaz. It catches up in it.
Dan Hardy. So we're going with, I'm saying Conda TKO. You and John Ladd are saying Griffin.
All right.
Yeah.
TKO. Okay. The first fight then on the main card itself.
This is an odd one now because it's Sean O'Malley against Chris Muccinho. I don't know very much about Chris Muccinho.
I know nothing about him.
Isn't he a last-minute replacement?
Yeah, very much last-minute replacement.
Now, there is...
Step up there to that.
Yeah.
100%.
Step up to.
The other thing is, what does he have to lose?
He's nothing to lose. Nothing.
Everything
to gain. Plus, he's an unknown quantity.
Which can be very dangerous for the likes of Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley's a lot to lose.
He has a lot to lose. And he also, bizarrely, O'Malley has a lot to prove as well.
Yeah.
I mean, O'Malley really needs to, for all the hype and the buzz behind him, and he is an exciting fighter to watch, he needs big names under his belt. Not nobody. This is no disrespect to Moutinho. He needs big names under his belt, not last-minute replacements.
Yeah.
I think...
When I say nobody, I mean that,
Really Smoker,
respect as well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say that, John?
Wasn't it Louis Smoker he was supposed to fight?
And I was really looking forward to that. I think that could have been a barn burner.
Smoker's a savage, he is.
Big energy going in there, real big energy between those two.
I still think O'Malley was going to take that, though.
Yeah, but I would have liked to see, I think Smoker would have made him at least uncomfortable in positions. And he would have asked questions of him.
Yeah.
Which I think, at least I think we all have, and I don't think we're alone, we all have O'Malley pegged as a future champion.
Yes.
But what we want is questions asked of him early, so we get the best out of him late. Easy fights don't really do you much good. That's just the fucking the reality.
The fact of the matter is that with O'Malley having such a kind of weight of hype behind him, such a weight of interest, being such a kind of exciting, fast, dynamic fighter, he needs, and this is, I don't think you can argue against this, he needs a top 10 opponent. He needs to cut his teeth on someone at least in the top 15, knocking on the door, top 10. Now, Smolka was Smolka ranked?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Smolka would at least have been a gateway into that area.
Yeah,
Unknown quantity, a fighter who I think this might be his first UFC outing.
It is, yeah.
I don't think that's going to get him.
His last fight was he's on a 2-fight win streak. He had a TKO by punches over an Ashaik Ajim in October 2020, and he had a submission arm triangle choke against Andrew Salas.
This is not going to advance.
I think that was a card. Cage Fury Championships.
Yeah, see,
Cage Fury Fighting Championships.
This isn't going to advance O'Malley very far, I don't think.
No,
because with all due respect, we've all seen those like Cage Fury promotions and stuff like that, and they're a step above amateur.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But then the other thing is, listen,
does it say what their record is?
Which?
The two lads that Mutino bet.
It's kind of awkward to find and get on Sherdog. So every time you click into them, it brings you back to the fight, and then you have to go back through. It was an Andrew Salas. I don't know who. I'd never heard of him. But the other dangerous thing is coming in as an unknown quantity. He could be a killer.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not. That's my point. He could be an absolute killer. Could come in out of nowhere. No one's expecting it. Everyone has him kind of counted out, and bang, he puts O'Malley away.
But the thing is about it as well, like O'Malley is he's mental arrogant.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. He has a lot of confidence in himself.
Yeah, on an almost McGregor level.
Yeah. Coming in, I think this lad's making a debut against me on a couple of weeks' notice.
Yeah.
On a mortal. And we've all seen how that can go. Like,
of course, that can go really badly wrong.
Now, in saying that, like, do you know what this kind of makes me think of is, do you remember Dan Cormier against?
Oh, the wrestler Cummins.
Yeah. I think you're kind of an unknown quantity. You could come in shocking the big show. I think normally cream rises to the top.
Yeah.
I think O'Malley gets him out with her. Listen, it's a win-win for Chris Mucino. If he shows anything at all, it's a bonus. I expect O'Malley to get him out of there inside it too.
All he really needs to do is show up, show a bit of heart, show a bit of grit, and he'll earn massive respect, and he'll get his own little path to glory. You know what I mean?
Get out of the first round. But listen, the other thing is, you say to a fighter, listen, you're going to be. People are saying you're going to be happy to get out of the first round. He's coming to win this. Fighters don't turn up to not win. He's there to win. That makes him dangerous.
Fighters have said before in interviews, it's a very freeing sensation of not having that pressure on your back. You have no big expectation on you.
Everyone thinks I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
The press around doesn't want to talk to you coming up around.
Yeah, no one cares who you are.
They're not going down to the media.
Media scrums and all that.
Yeah.
Fucking dickhead. The media scrums that do that, you know what I mean? Sorry.
John is having a stroke there.
Stroke, please.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. It could absolutely work in his favour completely. And that being said, what are your calls?
O'Malley inside it too.
The first.
KO, TKO kind of thing?
Yeah, KO. You should stop him cold.
Okay, so we're all calling O'Malley for KO. Let's in that case, since we're all calling it the same, what round are you calling it in?
You're going 1?
Yeah.
I'm going to go early 2nd.
I'm going to go at round 1.
And the only reason I'm saying that is I'm hoping that Mucino has something to bring to the table.
Yeah.
Makes O'Malley guess, even in the base, that O'Malley might not know a lot about himself.
Yeah.
And it might take him around
to kind of feel him out,
timing down, get a bit of a feeling out process done.
I hope he does. I love seeing an underdog coming up.
Yeah.
Like we've seen it against Tony Ferguson and Lando Venata.
Yes.
Lando Venata nearly stopped him in that fight.
Yeah. Picked him apart for 2 rounds, solid.
Yeah. Love seeing that shit.
Just comes along, upsets the apple cart a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because there's no listen. People can. We're all entitled to like whatever sport to do, but there's nothing like an underdog in a fight sport, in a combat sport.
Very,
There's
very different.
nothing like it.
Yeah.
Listen, I remember seeing Japan beat South Africa, whatever it was, 7 8 years ago. Unbelievable, brilliant.
Last World Cup.
The World Cup before last, yeah, unbelievable. But there's nothing quite like a fight underdog.
Yeah.
Because they've been what you're saying. This is just, and it means a little bit more. It's something on the line. It's someone's pride, and it's someone's getting potentially knocked unconscious in front of millions of people.
Stop them.
Yeah. So yeah, we love an underdog, but I think O'Malley gets it done.
Yeah. Right. So what's the next fight then? The next fight is the ladies.
Irene Aldana.
Yeah.
And Yana. You have to be careful saying it the way it's spelled. Kunitskaya.
Kunitskaya.
Yeah. Not Kunitskaya. Potential a big fight. Yeah. Looking at Irene Aldana, 33. I actually like her, to be honest.
She's Mexican, isn't she?
3 submissions.
She's Mexican.
Mexican. She's coming off the loss against Holly Holm in October 2020. Which
Holm, I can never say that name. Holm.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she did. It was a step out of her class.
Yeah, she was completely outclassed against Holm.
But before that, she did a KO against Kathleen Vieira. Mm-hmm. Before that, a decision, Vanessa Mello. Yeah.
Fucking knocked her dead.
Knocked her dead. And to be fair, she's won in the UFC.
She submitted Bethe Correa, didn't she?
She did, yeah. She had 2 losses when she started off in the UFC, having come in from Invicta. But she went three wins straight, lost the split decision, had 2 more wins. Okay. So she's 5-2 in the UFC.
What rank?
She was a big underdog in that Vieira fight.
She was, yeah.
What rank is she, Mark?
She is number 4 in the women's bantamweight. The rankings are relatively shallow, isn't it? Yeah,
it's such a shallow division. Kunitskaya, I think, is 5th.
She's 5th, yeah. She's 31, obviously coming in from Russia. Nickname Foxy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We used to call you that back in the day, Paul.
Hey.
Oh, no, nobody called him that.
What?
No. He's coming out with 14 wins, 7 knockouts, 1 submission, 6 decisions.
Yeah.
She is I think she's a black belt, I think in Taekwondo and something else.
She's quite high level footwork and kicks.
She was stopped I think we all remember UFC 222 by Chris Cyborg. She was badly outmatched for size and everything else.
Yeah, ragdoll.
And other than that, though, she's won 4 of her last 5. Her last 2 decisions, Ketlin Vieira and the Lithuanian one, Julia
Stolarenko or something like that. 2 unanimous decisions. Yeah. She's a decision. Her 4 wins in the UFC have been by decisions. Yeah. Well, I'm not 100% sure who to go on this. Again, it comes back to this division being very, very shallow. So I often find it difficult when you've got a shallow division where the gulf and skill between like the number 1 rank and the champion is enormous. I often find it difficult then to work out who's fighting who below that and how they match up, because a lot of them they're like ranked 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, and they're all within spitting distance of each other. There's very little different, not very little difference, very little.
No, it's hard to separate.
Distance.
Yeah, it's hard to separate one. Like there's no one separating themselves from the crowd, or there's one person separating themselves, and everyone else a mile behind.
Yeah, exactly. So for that reason, just for that reason alone, because I'm finding it difficult to pick between the 2, I'm just going to go with Kunitskaya. I think she's going to pull a decision out of the bag. I think she's going to use better footwork. She's going to try and keep away from the cage, and she's going to just pick her apart with strikes. Just get a kind of a what would you call it? A trial by numbers, basically.
Yeah. I am going to go actually with Irene Aldana on the basis that she's more aggressive. She goes after the finish more. I mean, she's 9 finishes and 12 wins. she's never been submitted. So I'm going to go with a third round submission.
Okay, submission. Okay,
because she's 3 submissions and.
I'll go with Aldana by 2 TKO. I don't know why. I'm just fucking doing it.
All right, that's fair enough.
Just doing it. Fight me.
I just think she's got the stopping power there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, if anyone has the stopping power,
it's her. Yeah, for real. Yeah, she definitely.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to catch her and just put her to sleep.
Put her away.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Now, the next fight I think is the possible stinker on the card. I think this one could be the one that just everyone goes and make a cup of tea while it's on. It's Tai Tuivasa versus Greg Hardy.
You think?
I honestly, they're both heavyweight knockout artists. They're both going to lumber in the cage around the 260 mark.
Things are going to happen in that fight, right?
Yeah.
They go in banging and one of them goes to sleep.
Yeah.
Or they go in banging and neither of them knocks the other one out and they both get.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
The second one is what I'm thinking is going to happen.
Yeah.
I think the first round is going to be both lads afraid of each other's knockout power.
Right.
By the end of round 1, they're not going to have done much, but they're both going to be knackered because they're 260 pounds. Round 2 and 3 is going to be a lot of clinch work against the cage, the occasional takedown, the ref standing up because they're both too knackered to do anything, and one of them is going to eke out a decision. That's what I'm afraid is going to happen.
Yeah, I get you. What I think is going to happen there, right, is, and it was Hardy's first or second fight in the UFC. He started getting clipped, and he didn't fucking like it one bit. He reminded me of Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar never liked getting hit.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to get hit a couple of times there, and he's going to look for a way out.
Okay.
Tuivasa hits hard.
He does.
Yeah. Do you remember the Dan Hardy's? Like I said, I can't remember first or second fight, and he hit your man with an illegal knee.
Oh, he got disqualified.
Yeah. I think he did that on purpose
to get out there.
Oh, he was gone. He wanted a way out.
Yeah.
I think it's an uncomfortable reality for a sport that attracts a lot of athletes. The reality is there is a difference between an athlete and a fighter, even though fighters are athletes. Greg Hardy's an athlete. He's not a fighter. Does that mean athletes can't be successful? No, absolutely not. They can be very successful fighting. We've seen it happening.
There's a big difference between someone who likes, like you say, who's an athlete, and someone who likes to fucking fight.
Yeah.
Someone who likes to fight is a terrifying idea of someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They used to say there was a thing in boxing. You knew a natural boxer, not by how good they looked, but their reaction to getting
battered.
Cracked.
Yeah.
Cracked and hurt. The person who might look athletic and be an athlete, what they usually did was fall back in a straight line with their hands kind of flailing. The fighter grabbed the hold. Just survival. They didn't know what they were doing, but they were staying in the fight.
Yeah,
and it was a thing that, like, poor old Frank Bruno, I was a big fan of him. He did more with his skills than he had any business ever doing. But he always said if he got cracked, especially early on in his career, he just went back in a straight line. Didn't quite. A big hardy fucker, built like a shit house. Whereas you had guys who were natural fighters, they were natural boxers, they got cracked and it was a grab. They were grabbing on, they were holding, they were stalling.
We see that in MMA as well. You see a couple of fighters who, when they get, they take a couple of strikes, like someone throws a combo, and what they do is they back up in a straight line and they turtle up like this, they cover up, and they're just, we've talked about this before, to a trained fight, like to a natural striker, someone doing that and covering up is just a target.
Oh yeah.
You're just open to someone just waiting, letting you cover up, waiting, and then just picking their shots.
And you can actually, as you say, John, when he got clipped a couple of times last time, I think you're right. The knee was a
bit of a panic.
When you look at him, the way he moves, he doesn't move like a fighter.
No.
He moves like a very athletic person.
Not either. Like, when I say I think he was looking for a way out, like, I would have been long gone before him.
Oh, fucking hell, Jesus.
Fair play to him getting in there, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I would have been back in the changing rooms. They would have been able to find me by the trail of brown all the way out.
I don't think, like, Tuivasa is a natural fighter. He's one of them.
100%. He's not an athlete. I mean, He's a
Kiwi, isn't he, or a New Zealander?
No, Sydney, Australia, right?
That boy is he's a car park fighter. You know?
Yeah, that's the reality of it. Like when I'm trying, but I don't mean any disrespect in the saying he's not an athlete. I mean, he's obviously a professional athlete, but he's not. He's not a college baller or a college wrestler.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, he's a fighter.
Yeah.
That's
with that in mind, that's why, even though I'm afraid it's going to go into a boring kind of sweaty blokes hanging on to each other, I'm going to go with Tuivasa, and I'm going to go with KO. I hope within the very first round that he's going to just lift his block off, just with a big horrible uppercut or something like that.
It's hard to fucking like him with the reputation.
He's very difficult to warm.
Fucking woman beater.
Yeah.
There's something kind of just unlikable about him, isn't there?
Yeah.
Just he's
very fucking arrogant.
Yeah.
Came into the thing with a reputation for bashing his missus.
Yeah.
And then he's talking all this shit about how he's going to be the heavyweight John Jones. He's going to be the best in the world. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. When he was fighting fucking nobody's like.
Yeah.
Like be a ranked fighter before that happened. Then he got shot at fucking up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see here. So since he's coming in, he had Alan Crowder, that DQ legal knee. He had 2 wins against lads that really weren't at anything. He had a no decision, no contest. Because he used the inhaler. Do you remember?
Yeah. That was weird.
Then he was
a weird
by
moment.
Alexander Volkov. He took the fight in short notice. For me, he went 3-5s, but he just looked miles off.
Yeah.
He beat Jorgen De Castro by decision. Stopped Morris Green. We all know my thoughts on Morris Green anyway. He should have never been in the UFC as a heavyweight anyway.
No business being.
And then he gets TKO'd last fight by Marcin Tybura.
Yeah.
I think it's an easy. If he fights smart, is an easy fight for Tuivasa.
What are you saying, KO?
KO inside of 2. It might be a little bit tentative off the bat, but the thing is, if you had 2 great Hardys in there, I think it'd be what you describe, a boring tentative fight. Tuivasa doesn't give a fuck about that.
He'll take a shot.
He'll take a shot. He didn't do a bollocks. He will take a shot.
What are you saying, John?
Judgment to take a shot. So inside 2 as well. Yeah, I think he starts whatever bit of that kind of tentative energy. I think will be gone within a couple of minutes, and I think Tuivasa will find his range, and I don't think Hardy can live with him.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so we're all going for Tuivasa on that one.
And Hardy might get a takedown. He might shoot and get a takedown. But I don't see him able to capitalize much more
on getting the takedown.
Getting a takedown and then what?
Yeah.
And I think once he doesn't have the fight IQ to back up at, then after that, if he gets a takedown and sees out around, and then it's what do I do next?
Yeah.
Get another takedown. I don't think it's going to be there from the way he thought, and I'd say Tuivasa starts landing shots.
All right then, the co-main event.
Gilbert Burns, 19 wins out of 23, 6 knockouts, 8 submissions, massive grappling chops, just massive. ADCC bronze medalist in 2015, World Jiu-Jitsu Championship 2011 gold medal, silver medal 2009, silver medal 2006, gold in the World No-Gi Jiu-Jitsu Championships in California in 2013, gold in 2010, and gold in the World Professional Jiu-Jitsu Cup in Abu Dhabi in 2010.
Yeah, grappling. He has serious grappling chops.
You don't want to end up on the ground.
No, you do not.
He is coming off, obviously, the loss to Kamaru Usman. But before that, he was on a 6-fight win streak. He had only 1 submission, that 1 TKO, and the rest were decisions.
For someone who has such amazing submission chops, he likes the old knockouts, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he does. Yeah, but he's only had 1. I think it's just that we remember his TKO against Damian Maia, but I think we remember his striking was just looking a lot sharper over the last.
Who did he beat on the streak?
So on the streak, it started off. So just before the streak started, he's been pretty active in fairness. He was stopped by Dan Hooker at 226. That was in July 18. Then he had a decision win over. Do you remember Olivier Aubin-Mercier?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Canadian fella.
Decision win then. Decision win over Mike Davis. A decision win over Alexei
Nelson.
Yeah, the decision win over Alexei Kunchenko. Decision win over Gunnar Nelson.
Yeah.
TKO over Damian Maia. He had that pretty convincing domination of Tyrone Woodley.
Yeah.
He stopped last time out by Kamaru Usman. But he did have, if I remember right, he did have Kamaru Usman under a little bit of pressure early on.
Yeah.
Huh? Wobbled Usman, didn't he?
He wobbled Usman, and that was the first time I've seen Usman wobbled.
And that was only earlier on this year, wasn't it? Started
February 2021, back in February. So he does have power. I think if he relies though on a striking contest against Wonderboy, it's going to be an awful long night for him.
A long night for him.
He's 5'8", going in against 6 foot 4 inches in height. Against someone who fights long. You're looking at. So we talked about his obviously his grappling chops. We're looking at Thompson, who was a 5th degree black belt in Tetsunshin Kempo, a 1st degree black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, black belt in American kickboxing, and then a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. A 58-0 record as a kickboxer.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're almost talking like polar opposites. Everything
he was in that. What's that fucking one Chuck Norris came up with? You know where
World
the boys
Combat League, I think, on the circular thing.
You ever see Thompson in that?
Vicious.
Fucking savage, man.
Unbelievable.
Just flashy. A lot younger, obviously. Like, so he's just flashy, loads of energy, and he's knocking lads senseless. Like.
Yeah. And his leg dexterity is just outrageous.
Yeah.
Unbelievable stuff.
He's pushing 40 now, isn't he?
I tell you now, he's been around a while, in fairness, he is 38.
38, yeah. So.
Yeah. He's had 7 knockouts, 1 submission, 8 decisions. I think the decisions realistically go along with someone who's that type of striker at distance.
Yeah.
He's very accurate. He's coming off 2-fight win streak. Vicente Luque by decision and Jeff Neal by decision.
I find them. If I'm being brutally honest, I find them quite difficult to enjoy watching. I find that the side stance, bouncing on your toes, in and out with a couple of side kicks and the odd jab here and there. I just find that a very difficult style to enjoy watching.
It's really awkward.
Yeah, he's awkward to time. He's awkward to what would I say, to kind of pin down, get him into a corner, which, I mean, obviously that works for him. That's his tactics. I don't know. There's just something about it. And I like him. He seems like a nice enough bloke.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't always enjoy watching him fight. He plays one of those evasive games that can be quite frustrating. You end up kind of going for the opponent because you want to see him pinned down more than anything else.
I think that style of fighting, you're kind of going, do I want like the 2 Tyrone Woodley fights? Absolutely horrible fights to watch. Like,
really bad.
You're expecting a full. You're not expecting a finish from him.
Yeah.
So you're going into that fight thinking like, I don't know if it's sit through watching him for 15 minutes now.
Yeah.
Or 20 minutes.
And the first fight, I was actually in New York watching it. And they were talking about it got fight tonight. Everyone was talking about how amazing the fight was, and I was like 205.
Who did he fight then?
Woodley.
That was Woodley
fight. Sorry, the first Woodley fight.
And it was he won. It was a performance of the night, fight of the night, and I just couldn't see it.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Both fights. Best thing I've ever seen him do was his victory over Johnny Hendricks. He mangled Hendricks.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And Jake Ellenberger.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was great because of the build-up. Remember Jake Ellenberger kind of going on about, oh yeah, karate kicks, how
Karate
cute,
kicks,
and then
karate,
boom,
bang.
he gets karate kicked into next week.
Listen, I think if I'm being honest, I'd be going with Burns probably by decision.
Okay.
We got to go the other way. Wonder Boy by decision.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. I'm going to go with Burns, and I'm going to go out on a limb and go Burns by submission.
Oh.
I think he's going to. I don't think he's going to be happy with the hopes that it will go to the decision, because Thompson is the sort of fighter who can evade you for so long and pitter-patter you with shots to make it look like you are literally not doing anything and he's doing everything. He bounces around on his toes, and he's so maneuverable for so long that it looks like you're chasing shadows. And I think anyone who really wants to come out of a fight against him looking well either needs to be faster and more accurate than him, or needs to finish him.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think Burns is going to want to finish him. I don't think he's going to be able to do it by strikes, because I don't think he's going to be able to pin him down long enough to build up enough momentum to knock him out. He's going to want to take him down and submit him.
Right.
Yeah.
You could see either happening, really.
Absolutely. I think by a lot of these fights, actually, I can actually see either of them happening. Some of them are kind of coin tosses. Yeah. Okay, so we'll leave it there, and the next one we do will be the main event.
All right.
All right.
So.